Hey guys, welcome to Billy's Tech Tips. Today, I know there's a lot of videos of this, but today we're going to be comparing a GTX 970 Fallout 4 to a 980 to a Titan. So, what is a better card? That is the question. Okay, so there's a lot of reviews on this, a lot of benchmarks, and overall, it depends on the price and the amount of performance you want to get. If you want a mediocre card, or if you want a lower end card but you can still play the game, if you want a top notch card. And you also look at your VRAM, your screen monitor setup, your output cables and everything. If you want on 4K, how much resolution, there's a lot of things that go into it. So let's get started on the review. Alright, first up, in the GTX 970, and I'm going to go over the specs first before we get into all the questions and answers. The 970, it's got an CUDA core, it's got 1664. Okay, that's pretty decent for a 970, and I heard 970s are run better than two Titans, and that's SLI linked together. But you don't want, I mean, you can't expect like top notch. Every card has its catch. Like one card's good for editing and one card's good for this. But back to the point though, the 970 specs are the CUDA cores are 1664. Its base clock megahertz is 1050. Its boost clock is 1178. And a boost clock, if you know what that means, is like you can do like a speed boost or overclock it, and it boosts it. That's more megahertz you can add to it. And your texture fill rate, which is gigabyte textiles per second, is 109. The memory spec is 7 gigabytes per second, which is fairly decent. 970 is a good card. I have a 960 and it runs pretty good for 2 gigs. Standard memory config is 4 gigabytes. And see, that's the one thing. The Titans carry the 12 and the 980s carry the 4. So the 970 and 980 both have the same amount of RAM. And the only difference between the 970 and 980, the CUDA cores, is a 2048 compared to 1664, so you get a little more base performance for you have to go soup it up. Now your base clock is 1126 in the 980, but your 970 is 1050, so there's not much of a difference there in the card performance wise. Your boost clock is 1216, your other one's 970 is 1178, so it's not much of a difference, a 970 or 980 on how you grasp it. Maybe it's just a little bit more. Far as it costs a little more for the card, but as far as performance, it's about equals to a 970 in reality. Even if you run dual SLI, it'll still come out pretty good. I mean, I run a 760 and 960, and I still run games pretty good. So, back to the point though, and that is the 980 and 970 are almost similar to same. They both carry the same amount of RAM, memory bandwidth's the same. They both have the same amount of memory config, memory interface, GDDR5. So they're the same cards. But you're saying, okay, well, what's the point? They're the same cards. Next thing, when you want to look at the card differences versus price and performance, when you're trying to pay less for more performance and more performance, more money, I guess you would say, you always want to find a card that you can stay with budget and gets to run games in general resolution or general, maybe between medium to ultra graphics in a lot of games. Now, just because it has the option doesn't mean you can run it. Every game is going to have the option, but can your system handle it? It's also your CPU, unless you do the changing coding in OBS. So, both of the cards are SLI ready, and they're 4-way, so you can have up to 4 cards run together SLI. Now, I don't know if all the RAM was going to meet up like 2. You can't have like 4 of those or 4 gigs, so you have 16 gigs of GDDR5 video RAM. That's why I've been reading some comments in some places that cards will not work with each other that way. So in the short term, you could get 16 gigs, you could have 4 gigs. Some people have SLIs, 2 Titans or 2 970s and 4K, and they only get like 4 gigs, but the card offers really 3.5 because you got half of that to run the card as basics. Even in 4K, it still has low resolution. There's a lot of reports on low resolution at 25 FPS per second. Even on Titans, dual SLI and Fallout 4. So, you really want to do your research when you're buying a graphics card. You want to make sure that you go and read forums and Google things. You'll be amazed what you'll find. They both have the same G-Sync. G-Syncs are very awesome. If you get the G-Sync monitor, Google Sync. it syncs up and it helps control your resolution better, so you ain't blotchy, blurry in random moments. It helps make sure everything is in the same pace with each other, so your graphics quality is awesome. Yeah, and I'm not sure about recording. I never recorded a 4K or G-Sync type system, so I have it, but I don't know how to afford G-Sync monitors, so which is awesome. Your game stream ready. Both are game stream ready. Game stream is NVIDIA's new way of recording. Basically, you can record from there, and it's supposed to save the stress in your CPU and work off your GPU. Your CPU is your central processing unit. The processor that's the brain of your whole computer. Now, your GPU is like your CPU of your motherboard, but it's the GPU of, it's like the CPU of the video motherboard. It processes everything, the rendering, all that. So, when you want to do the streaming, it could, using your GPU could harm you or help you. So make sure you really look at your system specs and make sure if you run anything over a quad core, you should be okay. But typically a 6-core, 8-core would be awesome. You can still use your CPU to do a lot of things. But do not have too much running in the background. Just because you got a fast computer and a lot of, RAM doesn't mean that it's going to hold up to all that. You don't want to overdo it, and you want to make sure you cool your processor very well. So GeForce Shadow Play, they both have GeForce Shadow Play, which is, I haven't really experienced that yet. But if you experience it, comment about it, and I'll review and check it out. The GPU boost, that is like overclocking your computer, but you're overclocking your graphics card, which will boost your GPU. Now, if you use your GPU for your recording and coding, which is the NVIDIA codec, that'll be awesome. It's more boost for your GPU. If you run SLI together, which is 2 or more cards linked together, the same model. Now, when it comes, side note here, when it comes to SLI, you want to make sure it's the same model every card. It's not, I run a 760 to 960 in my tower, it still reads the RAM separately because they're 2 different models. So make sure when you SLI, I made that mistake, to make sure they're the same exact model card, no different from each other. I'm not sure by brand though, that's one thing we really should look into. The GPU boost 2.0 is the same. The super resolution is the same. The GameWorks is the same. The DirectX, they both have DirectX 12, which DirectX 12 is the future of all games, and it's awesome. I mean, DirectX 12 is going to be the new thing. A lot of the DX11s and DX9s eventually will be outdated, so give it time. But they're not going to get rid of them because they know that can just go out and buy a freaking Titan. It's over $1,000. Okay, so they're not going to get rid of it. So calm down there. Calm down there, old Pentium 4 no-core users. You're fine. We'll make it. We'll survive. Because if they take it away, I'm screwed. Because I don't have nothing to run DirectX 12 as far as I know, besides the 960, I think. OpenGL, that's a big thing for games. OpenGL opens a lot of things. It's a big tool for videos and graphics and everything. It's like your screensaver, your games. I mean, anything basically graphical it uses. It's CUDA, so basically I was talking about the CUDA cores. Basically, it's a lot better than the older NVIDIA cards because it has more cores and more way to process things in a better way. Instead of it's like having an 8-core processor. Each core is like a virtual core, and it gives you more processing power and more processing capability instead of one thing doing too much and it frees lags. It gives it more resources to use to function better. The PCI Express 3.0 is a very familiar port. It's pretty new, so it's compatible with 3.0. So you have to have 3.0 ports. I don't know if it'll work with 2.0. Some of my cards are backwards compatible and do 2.0. So make sure when you buy it, you research the box. I'm pretty sure they are backwards compatible though. I mean, most stuff is because they know people can't go out and buy everything brand new yet. Your OS, okay, operating systems are a whole other ballgame. Linux, which is Vista, or not Vista, Linux, FreeBSD, anything times 86 or something like Red Hat, anything with Ubuntu, anything Linux based, it is certified for it. Now, if you really want to know the specs, I will put the links in the description below for the specs for each card, and you can research it more. Display support, that is where a lot of the troubles come. This is where a lot of the questions will come in. Can you do 4K and what resolution? Okay, here's a question and here's your answer. Yes, you can. 5120 by 3200, both cards can run at the max. The max, that's digital. The max VGA is 2048 by 1536. The standard display adapters on both cards are dual links, DVI-I, HDMI 2.0, which is very good. Now, if you watch Linus Tech Tips, we'll talk about it as I think Linus Tech Tips or his Tech Wiki. It's one of those two. I'll have to put the link in the description below for it. He talks about the difference in the ports and the digital transition from DVI. Takes it. They added the 4 prongs to do analog signal carry plus digital. It goes from VGA, DVI, and into HDMI, and different types of HDMI. And then they have fiber optic HDMI, which has multiple audio streams, video streams, everything. But we'll talk about that another time. Or if you want to go watch this video, I'll put the description down in the link, and you can go check his channel out. It can handle up to 4 displays per card. So that's awesome. 4 displays. Different might need adapters and ports, but I mean, hey, 4 displays. I mean, imagine widescreen view of your game. I mean, like, going at it. Internal audio output. So yes, if you have HDMI monitor and you have speakers on it, you can use that for audio. I specifically don't. I use surround sound speakers hooked up to my 6-channel audio built on my board. The dimensions of the card are the same. They're the same, and so it don't matter. Don't stress about it. It's going to fit in my case. It's too big. Yes, I know. And I bought graphics cards starting they were from small, got bigger and bigger, and I had to buy bigger cases because of it. So next time I'll plan ahead in that. But yes, the size is the same. Now we're still going to get to the Titan, so give us some time there. A thermal, power, and specs. Okay, thermal and power specs are new one. I overheated my graphics cards and fried them. And video was under RMA warranty status, so I got another one. So I had to pay for them. I had to pay for shipping. But always keep your graphics card cool. You're going to fry your graphics card while you're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and be done. So the maximum temperatures that they'll ever reach is 98 on the 970. 98 also C on this. So both to run in the same temperatures and degrees. Mine run about 80 something, which I don't understand, but okay. Graphics cards power. This is the big thing. The bigger, the better, the more it uses, in theory. And it is true. 970 uses 145, and the 165 watt is a 980. Now, you need a little more to process those CUDA cores and that GPU and those cooling fan. Now, you could install water cooling like Linus and all the others did, where you put adapters and you hook up water cooling, hook up the fans, and it works good. Just, make sure you hook it up right. And the minimum power specs are both 500. So if you have 500 watt, awesome. If you don't, then you need to upgrade because you'll burn the power supply. It will not turn on and work for safety reasons. And the connectors are the same, 2 times 6 pins. That's a good thing. Sometimes some cards have new connectors or old connectors, and it's really hard to find adapters. But you can even use go to Fry's Electronics, like I go to, or an electronics store that does computer stuff and all that, and you can find a different adapter cables to help you with that. It's a 6-pin cable. Some take an 8-pin, and that's about the smallest they get, is 6-pin nowadays. Some power supplies will have the adapters. It'll be like 6 pins and it'll be extra wire with 2 plugs, and it merges together and it plugs in. Yeah, that's the way to show it. Okay, guys. So now, on the very bottom, it notes tapes that they both can run at 60 hertz. Hertz. Why do you say hertz so much? 60 hertz is the minimum. 75 is even better. The more hertz, the better graphical resolution, the better signal, refresh rate, everything is about the hertz. Linus Tech Tips talks about that. He talks about that he was doing a review on a gaming monitor, and it's the hertz goes like 144 and more, but certain graphics cards cannot push that far. So when buying graphics cards, make sure that you look up the hertz and the highest it can go, and make sure your monitors can support that. Because if you buy a card that go 160 hertz, your card can only do 60. So, what's the point of buying something you can't really use and waste your money on? Get something you can benefit out of. Okay, guys, so on to the Titan. Now, the Titan has double the amount of cores, 3,072 cores, which is really good for a card. The base clock is 1,000. Now, this is where the difference. See, the base clock dropped a little bit, and the boost clock's only 1075. So see where the difference in the Titan is a little bit lower in the cores, but it's stronger in the CUDA cores. Whereas the 970, the 980s, the CUDA cores are a little bit less, but their base clock and their boost clock is higher. Their texture fill rate, gigabytes per second, is 192. The 970 and 980s were 224. 224. So why does a Titan have a lower setting? I don't know. Let's find out. They still have the same SLIs. They still do G-Sync. They still do the game stream, the game shadow play, the NVIDIA GPU boost. Everything I told you about the 970, they do the same. I mean, it's the same operating system support, same resolution, adapters, the internal, the audio, same width even. But the only difference is it's 91 degrees Celsius, 7 degrees Celsius lower than the 970 and 980. But here's another thing. It doubles in the amount of power it requires. It requires 250 watts of power and a minimum of a 600 watt power supply. So please make sure when you're out buying your graphics card and you're getting two Titans, you get something that's at least 600 or above. Now if you're running multiple peripherals like hard drives and everything, make sure you have enough wattage to support everything plus your graphics cards. The power connectors come with a 6-pin and an 8-pin. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Some cards have a 6-pin, 8-pin, some have double. Some 6-pin and the 8-pin other side. So make sure that you get all the right adapters for it to work, or you will turn your computer on and it will pop in there saying PCI device does not have enough power to supply it, and it will just be black and white text and you won't know what's going on. Okay, the same thing has the same resolution at 60 Hertz with dual display connector. So dual display, I mean, they're on 4 screens. You're not going to get that 5120 by 3200. You're going to get less. It's only can do dual displays, which is also in your NVIDIA control panel checking surround sound, and that's a whole nother video on that one. I do that sometimes for certain games. Some games do not support surround sound. So I'm like, well, why say all this? But let's get to the point. Fallout 4. Fallout 4 made the 970 edition card for their game. It's a super clocked. So here's the thing about it. I've read reviews on it that even though it has all this RAM, I mean, the Titans will still outperform 970, but then the 970 can outperform the Titan and the 980. Either way, the 970, 980, and the Titan models are pretty good for most of your new games. And being that DirectX 12 is coming out, that's a big change. A lot of us that run DX11 like myself are going to have to upgrade, and that's going to cost a fortune. So my next build video I'm going to do probably this coming year of 2016, I'm going to redo my graphics cards, probably upgrade my motherboard, my processor, the AMD FX Unlocked 9550 if I'm correct. I think that's the right one. I want to get it. It runs almost at 5 gigahertz on overclock. Without, now if you overclock it, it'll probably run a lot better. I run overclocked at 4.20 with the 8120 unlocked AMD FX processors. AMD is a really good processor, and I really trust AMD. I haven't had no problems. Even when it got hot, it still worked. So AMD all the way, baby. Even Intel's good too. So this is my review of the 970, 980, and Titan. So you can either go with the 970, 980. You'll have more boost clock and base clock, but you'll have less cores, and it uses less power, and it has only 6-pin connectors, but it's the same size, same resolution as the Titan 980 and the 970. Now the other ones, the Titan is different. You need 250 watts minimum to power that card. So you need to figure out if you have 250 watts. You got to remember, share your devices. They're going to pull no more than 400 watts if you need a 600 watt power supply. So always get something bigger than the 600 watt. I always go with the 700. I have a server computer it's a NAS server that runs 900 watts. I mean, you don't even use 900, but it's in there just if I add more hard drives. Not enough watts, it won't start up. It's a safety precaution, or you fry your power CPU, or not CPU, your power supply out. It won't be enough power to power the CPU. So overall, you need more connectors for the Titan, but better performance, but more CUDA cores, but less clock on base boost and boost on your clock. So 970, 980, I would probably prefer for gaming. The Titan I would do less. It has more VRAM, but not much performance in the cores, nor does it have it in the base clock. So that is my review of the 970, 980 in the Titan models. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter at bburk1990. And thanks for watching Billy's Tech Tips, where I will see you never. Well, I'll never see you, but I'll see you later. Bye-bye. If any of you like this video, like tech reviews, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Follow me at Twitter, bberg1990, and we'll be doing more reviews. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the videos below me. I will post the links in there along with you can click and watch them. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you. Happy YouTubing.